to the On1 Inbred project part 3. I'd ridden the bike on the previous video and it needed some big changes, and what I've done is gone through my spares, found out bits and bobs that I can use for it just to get it up and running a bit more to my style, and then if I like it I can then maybe even do another video on it, upgrading it even further. But I don't want to spend any money really if I ain't gonna carry on using it. So I'll just run through the bits and bobs that I've found out in my spares and show you what I'm gonna do. Right, so in regards to the frame, the only thing that I've done so far is just change the seat clamp. So the one that was on there was just stretched, it was the wrong size, so I've got one on that's better. It's the same seat post that was on to begin with. So okay, so what I've got here, so I've got the original bottom bracket, Shimano Holotech. It turned out there was nothing wrong with it, just needed some fresh grease inside. The drive side had just basically dried up. Well, perfectly fine. I can put a new one another time if it's something I'm going to keep. So as mentioned in the previous video, we are going one by, so we've got the triple chain rings removed and just a single put on. Again, this is just in my spares. It's a cheap Mega Tuth chainring 32T. It'll do the job for now. We've got a new headset. Again, it's a cheap one, but it is a sealed unit, so should do well. We've got an A to Z rear rotor 180 because I haven't got a disc for the rear wheel, which is a 6-bolt. So I'm having to use a 180 on the rear, and then I've got the original 160 lock-on rotor for the front. I can always get another A to Z to match the front, a later date. I've got a smaller stem to change. The original one was really long, so that's going to be nice change straight away just to get that removed. And then we've got a 1242 10-speed cassette, so a nice big range to go with that small chainring at the front. Some brakes, some guidars, needed a little bit of work, but they should be fine. Give them a sort of clean up. Got the pistons moving equally, as some of them was just sort of stuck. SLX 11-speed rear derailleur should be absolutely fine to work with the 10-speed SLX shifter. A saddle, nice comfy saddle for now. Not the best of looking saddles, but definitely a lot better than what was on there. Some Boardman bars to suit the 31.8 Renthal stem. So I'm going to whack all this on the bike. The original wheels on the On1 was, to be fair, they'd it. I don't like really throwing stuff away, but the front wheel, the hub's sound, but the rim's just too badly buckled. It's got an egg-shaped buckle and it's not coming out. So we'll keep the hub as a spare. There's odd rims. The rear, the free hub body needed replacing. The bearings, the cones, cups, everything in that hub bar the outer shell is knackered. So there's just no point in that one. And again, wheel was buckled, so I had, as part of actually it was part of the job lot of wheels I bought with this bike on the previous video you may have seen, and in that was a couple of odd hubs. You've got a SLX lock-on front hub with the matching rims. You've got these really wide, I can't remember what it was now, can't remember what. Oh, that was it. NCD Lupus Pro. Not even showing you. Lupus Pro rims. Double wall, nice and wide. And then we've got an XT rear. That's what I was saying about the hub. That is a 6-bolt, so that A to Z is lock on and 6-bolt compatible, so we'll be able to use that. So I think I'm going to start with first getting the headset installed. I have done a video on the swelling of the head tube, because I've noticed on the strip down on the second video the cup just fell out, which it shouldn't do. It should be in there snug. So I've done a separate video on how I sorted that out, so you can check that out and my other videos. So yeah, I'm going to get the headset installed first. No fancy tools for that one, just a simple block of wood and a mallet to whack those in. Nothing fancy needed. I've never used anything fancy to put cups in. It's obviously a good idea if you can afford the tool, or make one, I suppose, but hey, plenty of wood. So right, so I'll set that up and start the build, and join you shortly. I'm going to put the lower cup in first. I've got the frame resting on this motorcycle stand with a rubber top, so it's not going to damage the frame. And I've made some little notches inside the head tube there. I've done a separate video on that, explaining how to do that and the reasons behind it. So with the old cup just falling out, it was clear that the head tube had swollen. So this cup is actually going into the head tube a couple of mil more than the original one anyway. So it was gripping the head tube further down, but as a just in case, I'd made some notches all the way around the head tube, just so it's gonna it's gonna grip that cup for sure. Right, so I'm going to firstly get some grease inside that head tube. Let's get me cup in. My logos to the side. Right. It is advisable to take out the bearing, but with it being a really cheap Chinese headset, it's decided not to come out, so it can stay in there. Right, so next up I am going to place the plank over there and just gently start tapping in that cup, and just making sure that it is going in evenly. If it is going to start to go in crooked, you just want to back out and then, you know, start again. So I'll just set the camera up so you can see a bit better, and let's get that first cup in. this is just assembly grease. For some reason, never wants to come out. Top part of this head tube was absolutely fine. It's just naturally the bottom which takes the beating. That needed some TLC, but the top's absolutely fine. Okay, so those have gone in fine, no issues there. Let's get the frame back in the stand and let's get the forks installed. Right, I gave the forks a good clean up. Stanchions are in good condition. Quite a few scratches on the lowers, but I'm not fussed about that. They work really well. So we've got the remainder of the headset. We don't need the star nut because we've got one already in our steerer. Obviously we'll use the top cap, the bolt. We've got our top crown race, which will go on the upper cup, and then this is the one that we need. And we've got a split in our lower crown, so it's easily put onto the fork. And just slide that down, and no tools needed. That's just gonna pop straight on there. I've got a few spacers. Let's see how many we're gonna need. This was a new headset in the packet, but you can see there's a gap. There should be a rubber seal around there. What do you want out? Right, let's just have a look, see what space we got left. Yeah, so there's just, you see the steerer there is just sticking out, so you just need one more 5mm spacer should do it. Otherwise, when you tighten up and preload the bearings, it's not going to pinch everything up. Feels really smooth. These two side ones are 5 Newton meters, so they don't have to be tightened up very much at all. The previous owner, whoever's, I mean, I had this with the job, a lot of bike stuff, but you can see the gap in there. It has been over tightened at some point and stretched it, but it's still very usable and everything's fine with that. Right, so that's the headset installed. Feels smooth. There's no, oh, is there play? Yes, there is. There's a lot of play. There we go. Just nip that top one for now. Okay, there's no longer any gap there, so maybe there wasn't supposed to be a seal there. That has took out that gap completely now, and it's still very smooth, so everything's as it should be. You'll know if you've not got something right, because you know, it won't be smooth like that. So there should be no play and it should be smooth. You know, you've got everything in the right place. Some customers' bikes have come in the past with, you would not believe how they've arranged the headset and wondering why it's, you know, it's not turning smooth. Easily done, easily made. It's easy to get it wrong, that's what I'm trying to say. Right, so that's that done. Let's put back in the handlebars as well. Where are the handlebars? They're over here. Be a right multitude of colours. What I have done, but I want to do that slightly. Because this stem is a two-piece stem. It's actually two separate pieces, and I'll be able to get my handlebars in very easy if I've got some parts of it locked out. I've got some markings on the handlebars so I can work out equal sides of the bars. Right, now with the handlebars in, we can tighten everything back up. Again, these two bolts here on this particular stem are 5 Newton meters, so no need to overdo them. Okay then. Just show you the difference. That's gonna be a lot closer, which is what I want. Right, let's move on to bottom bracket. Let's get that installed. Okay, let's get the bottom bracket installed. Okay, and now let's put the chain set in. Just going to put a bit of grease down on the axle. I'm just undoing the one bolt there just to remove that little plastic clip which stops it going on. Push it on all the way. Then that clip we should be able to just push back over. There we go. Right, I'll just turn the frame around so we can show you locking up that chain set. So with the two locking bolts loose, we've got our Holotech 2 tool. So we're just going to tighten up the chain set, tighten the two arms up together. There, it's just locking the two arms. You'll notice if you get too tight, it just stiffen it up. So I've just gone too tight there and just backed off a little, maybe a little bit more. There we go. Now we can tighten up the two side ones. 12 to 14 Newton meters. So just doing it equally either side. Right, that's that sorted. I'll just get the frame put back round as it was and we can move on. Next up, I'm just going to prepare the back wheel. So firstly, I'm just going to put the 10-speed cassette on. And now put on our rotor. So it has got the option for the lock-on adapter as well, so I just need to take that off because ours is a 6-bolt. I'll just grab an Allen key. Okay, so there's our adapter. And that's what we're going to use. The 6-bolt type. Right, so I've grabbed some rotor bolts. It is a good idea at this point to put some Loctite on, but I'm probably going to change these bolts anyway for the same style that was holding the adapter, which as you can see it's tapered. So for now I'm just going to put these in without any Loctite because they are going to come back out. So you just want to tighten up opposite bolts, just so you don't warp the disc. There we go. Right, there goes my drill. Right, so I'll just get the quick release skewer and we'll whack it in the frame. Right, there's our wheel in. Right guys, I've got the rear brake installed. Got ahead of myself a little bit. The rear brake had to be bled, and the holes had to cut down as well to feed it through the frame eyelets. But yeah, that's all done and sorted now. We've got an A to Z adapter there with a couple of little spacers that come with the kit, just to lift up the caliper, and we've got it in line with the rotor perfectly now. As I say, I had to bleed the brake, but it's working really well. But yeah, we'll get this front wheel in, get the front rotor on, and get this front brake on, and I'll show you that next. Yeah, the torque setting for these is 40 Newton meters. And that was exactly 40 Newton meters. Oops. When you're putting the front wheel on, if your bike is in the stand, just make sure you push up, just so the axle is sitting in the dropout properly. That's lining up fine. You should always thread lock if you're gonna take out the bolts for the caliper or the mount. Use thread lock to you know, for when you're putting the bolts back in. I'm not gonna just yet because I'm gonna see how the caliper sits. I'm probably going to be changing the rotor in the near future to match the rear, so I'll just get the bike back in the stand now so I can make sure the caliper's in the right position and we can test out the front brake. Okay, so I've got the front brake on, just gently pressing the brake. I've just tightened up the 2 bolts there, and then just from that point you can make small adjustments left and right just to stop any catch. It is catching slightly, so I've still got a little bit of tweaking to do, but yeah, let's move on to the next part. Coming together now, so we've got our brakes all sorted, chain sets on. Let's get our rear mech and chain on, run a gear cable through, and let's just check the gears and see how it runs. Right, so for my gears, I have got this fancy Kevlar rally kit. So you've got this Kevlar outer, lined inner, and then the stainless steel gear cable. I had it with a job load of bike stuff. Very expensive actually. I think they're about 30 or 40 quid. But it's been here for a while, so let's use it. There. Make sure we've got a bit of slack. See where the old cables rub there. Rub straight through. Cables are a killer, man, look at that. Don't take long either to rub through. Right, so I'm just going to, this kit unfortunately don't have the ferrules, so I've got a couple of Jaguar. This is thicker than normal gear outer cable, so these brake ferrules will do nicely. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll just trim to suit for the shifter, put the outer cable in, and then we can get our rear derailleur moved into the low gears so I can get my chain on. Okay, so gear cable installed. As you can see with that kit, you don't have any inner cable exposed at all. So I would imagine it's something that's going to last designed to last. And it's so smooth you can't hardly feel any resistance. Right, so let's get that in the lowest gear. As you can see there, my mech is slightly going to catch the very lowest cassette ring, so that's going to need altering. Let's get my Allen keys. Right, so we're looking at this one here. We've got our low screw there, our high screw there, and then our B screw there. So it's going to move our pulley away. As you can see there, just turning that clockwise, just increasing that gap. Now that's been adjusted, let's get the chain on. Still needs a little bit more. Let's get the chain on, we can judge that better anyway. Right, so I've got a brand new chain, 10 speed of course. Just adjusting that derailleur back slightly. Went too much with that. I want the derailleur fairly stretched in that sort of gear. I want a nice tight chain so it's not bouncing around, so I can judge it better from doing it this way. We've got our Shimano fixing pin there, little rivet. So with the pointy part that goes in first, and then of course this is the link that will be left in, and we shall snap off the back side of that when it comes out the other side. I need a new pin in that, as you can see when you're winding it. It's on the way out. Best chain splitter I've ever had, though, from Park Tool. some of the links in these chains are solid and they do bend the pin in your park tool. As you can see there, you literally just snap off the excess. So it's just a guide just to get the link, help the link through. Just snap off. Right. Move you back. Cable. You see from the angle that gap there, I'll show you. So the pulley gap there is way too much now. And just adjust that down a bit. See that coming in. Okay, that looks better. Let's check that you can see. There we go. So it is a clutch mech, so that's going to reduce the chain being whacked around, and we've got the mega tough chain ring as well, which will snug, which will grip that chain. Trying to come down now, so I'm just going to tighten the cable a little bit. It's trying to come down too. I've just tightened the cable up a little bit. Beautiful. It's that 11-speed SLX rear driver is working really well with the 10-speed shifter. Beautiful. Right, let's go and find some pedals. Okay, so I've got our pedals on. They're a set of used Saint pedals, which my brother gave me, and they are pretty sound. I had quite an issue. So, as you can see now, our front brake is a Shimano Dior, which I don't like using on brakes, but that's all I've got at the moment. So what happened is the rear lever, when you was pressing the brake, it was just sticking, like the lever was just sticking inwards, and the seals and the shaft in there, the shaft itself was damaged. Could see score marks, and then the seals needed replacing. So like I do with many things, I attempted to fix it first and re-greased inside there, but it just wasn't having none of it. It improved it, but it was still sticking. So what I'd done, because I've only got a front brake, that's any other one I had, so I took the lever the guide eye lever off the front brake and used it for the back. So of course you can use these levers for front or rear brake. So for now, that's the setup that we've got. But it's all working sound. I've put the seat on, changed these two brackets because the ones that was on there wasn't matching the seat post. These are not the correct ones either, but it does work fine. You just can't change the angle of the seat. As it is there, it's perfect for me. So brakes, gears, just got to put some grips on and give it a test ride, and I'll let you know how that goes, because this is a very long video, so I'm going to leave it at that and do a final one on it with again some changes to certain things. But just sitting on it just feels so much better with that stem closer the seat. It feels like a different bike. I can just tell it's gonna suit me a lot better. So that's going to be it from this one. Make sure you check out the fourth and final video where I'll do some better pictures of it to show you and let you know how it rides and stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.